Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out from the Kursk region of Russia to share with you. I want to talk some more and bring you some more updates regarding this cross border attack from the Ukrainians yesterday, where they launched a massive attack of hundreds of soldiers and dozens of tanks entering into the Kursk region. Russia responded and said that the situation was controllable, but I'm going to show you some information that shows that the situation does not appear to have been completely controllable. The Ukrainians may have made it in as far as 25 kilometers, if not further, into the Kursk region, and these attacks are still happening for a second day now. So it doesn't look like it's completely over yet. We'll see how far the Ukrainians are able to get into the Kursk region, but I'm getting some reports that are showing that the main reason why they launched this attack was to pull troops away from the eastern side, that Russia would have to now transfer troops over to the Kursk region, which is north of where a lot of the fighting is at, northwest, I should say, as a lot of the fighting is taking place on the eastern side of Ukraine. So I think that was the major reason why they launched this assault, was to thin out their forces on the eastern side of Ukraine, which is where they are struggling the most right now. Ukraine is, that is. And I want to talk some more about this today. So I've got an article we're going to go over here right now, and then I've got a bunch of things on X to share with you, kind of the situation that's going on over here. But what we do know on the ground is that a state of emergency has been declared in the Kursk region of Russia. That's what was declared here at this meeting with Vladimir Putin. He had to hold an emergency meeting with the Security Council of Russia to figure out what's going on in the Kursk region, and also Sumy. That's the town of Sumy, or city of Sumy, I should say, in northeastern Ukraine, has also evacuated residents due to a potential response from Russia in that area, considering that Kursk is right over the border from Sumy. So let's go ahead and get into this, and I want to talk about this a little bit. So on AP, it says Putin accuses Ukraine of a large-scale provocation with its raid in southwestern Russia. And it says here, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday described a Ukrainian incursion into the country's southwestern Kursk region as a large-scale provocation, as his officials asserted that they were fighting off cross-border raids for a second day. Ukrainian officials remained silent about the scope of the operation. Putin met with his top defense and security officials to discuss what he called the indiscriminate shelling of civilian buildings, residential houses, ambulances with different types of weapons. He instructed the cabinet to coordinate assistance to the Kursk region. The fighting is about 500 kilometers or 320 miles from Moscow. Army Chief of Staff Valery Gerasimov, told Putin at a meeting via video link that about 100 Ukrainian soldiers had been killed in the battle and more than 200 wounded, Russian news agencies reported. Ukrainian military incursion taking place inside Russia, up to 300, right here, 300 Ukrainian troops supported by 11 tanks and more than 20 armored combat vehicles had crossed into Russia, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So this is a picture of a map that was put out to kind of show you where this happened at. So this is the Kursk region. This is very close to Belarus, okay? It's like northern side of Ukraine, or northeastern side of Ukraine. Kharkiv is down here in this area. This is the Belgorod region over here. Kursk is right here, and they attacked from near Sumy into the southern side of Kursk. And the town of Suja, it says right here, reported fighting in Suja, according to Russia. This is where a lot of the fighting had taken place. I think there was even a gas station very close to the border that supposedly got taken over. They took over a large portion of Suja too, apparently, or at least shelled that region quite a bit, because we've got video footage that shows lots of the houses there just destroyed. The streets are destroyed. There's just destruction all over the place inside of Suja. So a very successful attack from the Ukrainians. But a big question is, how far did they really get into Kursk? Because we heard yesterday that they got something like 7 kilometers into Suja, or into the Kursk region. And I think Suja is something like 10 kilometers. So if they were able to make it into Suja, they got at least 10. And I'm also hearing as high as 25 kilometers in some areas they might have broken through. So let's go over some stuff on X now. Let me just share some additional information with you regarding this topic. So let's go ahead and pull this up for you. So this is from Nexta on X. Breaking: the state of emergency has been introduced in Kursk region. This was reported by the vice governor of the region, Alexei Smirnov. He spoke about the difficult operational situation in the border areas. The publication agency estimated that the total area of the territory in the Kursk region, from where reports about the appearance of the Ukrainian military came reached 350 square kilometers. Okay, so apparently they pushed pretty far into the Kursk region. I'm going to show you lots of more information here as we move along that shows that Vladimir Putin is definitely very worried about this. And this is obviously a major security failure to the Russian army. And also considering that they may have to start pulling a lot of their troops from the eastern side of the country of Ukraine over to Sumy now. And this puts a lot of these other regions up in this area near Kharkiv, Sumy. This puts a lot of these areas at risk to another potential attack that could happen. And this is also backfiring against Vladimir Putin, who obviously initiated the attack on Ukraine back in 2022. So obviously backfiring on them now. So next to reports again, in Sumy region, there is a mandatory evacuation of 23 settlements. This was announced by the head of the Sumy Regional Military Administration, Vladimir Artyuk. 6,000 people will be evacuated, among them 425 children. The air alert signal in the region sounded continuously for 28 hours in a row. A lot of explosions heard today by residents of Sumy and the region are the work of our air defense, and it is effective. Such a cover has never been in Sumy region before, Artyuk added. So they're definitely trying to get prepared for any kind of retaliation from the Russians, starting to evacuate people from 23 settlements from the Sumy region inside of Ukraine. So from Bliskovka, the U.S. is in contact with Ukraine over the operation in the Kursk region. U.S. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller said at a briefing, decisions on how Ukraine should proceed and are decisions that Ukraine itself makes, Miller said. So basically, we've heard this a lot coming out from the U.S. State Department and the Biden administration in general, is that Ukraine can make their own decisions. They can do whatever they want with the weapons that are given to them. Obviously not long-range weapons like the ATACMS missiles or anything like that. They're not allowing strikes with those kinds of weapons inside of their territory. I think even HIMARS as well. But they're basically saying that Ukraine can proceed on decisions that however they choose fit. So that's what he was saying. Just wanted to share that with you. This is also coming out from the Biden administration. From Bliskovka again, U.S. officials will contact their Ukrainian colleagues to understand a little better the situation in the Kursk region of Russia. This was stated by White House National Security Advisor John Kirby. He added that the United States has not changed its policy regarding strikes on the territory of the Russian Federation. Ukraine can strike with American weapons only on the border of Russia. So who knows? Probably a lot of these weapons that were used, even the vehicles that were used to go into Russian territory in Kursk were probably given by NATO and probably given by the United States. Who knows? We heard there were Stryker vehicles being used as well and Humvees. So obviously Russia's not happy with this. They never were okay with any kind of attacks on their territory, which is, in my opinion, is kind of hypocritical because, Russia can go attack Ukraine and bomb their cities, destroy their cities. But if Ukraine does the same thing, I don't understand why it seems to be a problem. Obviously, they're at war with each other. But again, they're still declaring this as a special military operation. So that's kind of the case here. So moving on with next, again, a video from an emergency meeting of the Security Council, which Putin called, has appeared online. The Russian dictator looks very nervous. He could not hide his alarm about the fighting in the Kursk region. He announced a meeting with security agencies and called for assistance to the residents of the region. So this is the video that I showed you guys when you guys came in on the waiting screen. I just showed you a little clip of that. But they held an emergency meeting. We're not going to watch it because it's obviously not even in English and there's no subtitles. So, but what we were able to see from the video is, yes, he did look very nervous. And obviously this was an emergency meeting being held from Vladimir Putin and the Security Council of Russia to hold an assessment and security situation for what's going on in Kursk, okay? So I wanted to share that with you. Also from Igor Sushko, Russian fascists are mass surrendering to Ukrainian armed forces in the Kursk region. So this was a big picture that came out showing a lot of these Russian forces that were basically surrendering to Ukraine when Ukraine pushed in. And we heard there was something like 40 of them. Here's a bunch of them sitting on the side of the road, and they all had to surrender, okay? And there was probably much more that surrendered than that. It could have been even hundreds of Russian soldiers that surrendered. And considering many of the videos that were coming out, we were seeing at least 20 to 40 at a time in different videos that were surrendering to the Ukrainian army. So that was huge. Also, from Nexta, Prisoner of war march in Kursk region. 22 Russian military men laid down their arms. The video was published by Ukrainian public activist Sergei Sternenko. Z channels specifically specify that the video shows border guards. So we had some troops here from the Russians apparently too that were also surrendering, and they're saying here there was 22 of them. So it looks like a large group of Russian soldiers also surrendering. We can see them putting their arms up here too. So they were definitely having to surrender to the Ukrainian army. So this was something big that came out as well. And this was obviously in the Kursk region. So this is like a combination of some of these pictures that were being shown. This looks like the picture that we showed you here earlier. And this was video footage of them all laying on the ground, probably having to disarm themselves, take everything off of them, make sure they were clean. So that way they could probably transport them back to Ukraine. So that was pretty huge right there as well. So take a look at this from next to, again, Radio Liberty geolocated one of the pictures with the surrender of the Russian military. According to the publication, most likely it is about the Russian military who were guarding the multilateral automobile checkpoint, and according to Russian sources, were fighting with AFU units all night. Military observers estimated that the AFU captured more than 40 Russian military. So a few pictures here as well. Looks like there's a gas station right here or something where they were captured. So we definitely had at least 40 Russian military troops who were captured in this attack in the Kursk region. So I wanted to share those because we had different reports coming out here. Also, this is something that happened yesterday when the attack originally took place, again from Nexto. We have a lot of reports from them today. The Russian Defense Ministry announced the destruction of 11 drones over Russian regions, with drones damaging apartment buildings in Voronezh and Shebekino. According to the ministry, overnight 4 drones were shot down over the Kursk region, 3 over the Belgorod region, and 2 each over the Voronezh and Rostov regions. So at the same time, Ukraine launched a massive wave of drones that were launched into multiple regions of Russia. So it looks like we had a strike on a high-rise building here. There was actually a couple buildings that were hit. Here's another building. This looks like it might have been like an apartment building or something. They got struck by a drone. So, yeah, it looks like Ukraine was doing this once again, all at the same time, launching a massive drone attack into multiple regions here. Looks like Belgorod, Voronezh, Rostov, Kursk. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you. Also, now from Igor Sushko, Russia, Suja in Kursk region, after 1 day of shelling, the town is 5,000 is located 10 kilometers from the border. Ukrainian forces are near. Okay, so this came out at 1:30 a.m. today. And I wanted to share this with you. It's only 5 seconds, but it shows the devastation here in the town of Suja when this attack took place. So go ahead and take a look. So this is what Vladimir Putin means when he says there was indiscriminate shelling of civilian areas, homes, things like that. Because obviously, look at this. Just houses blown to bits here. This person might even live here, and their whole house has been destroyed, and their land here. So definitely a major attack. And I think there was like artillery and all kinds of things going off over here that was supported with this attack of these troops that pushed in. Okay, so obviously a very big attack from the Ukrainians. Also from Bliskovka, Suja is already under the control of the armed forces of Ukraine, local media claims. The situation is also under control, but this is not accurate. Okay, so we're hearing from Bliskovka that Suja, the town that was originally attacked very close to the border of Ukraine, could potentially be in control of the armed forces of Ukraine. So I wanted to share that with you. We'll see how that develops. Maybe we'll get more information coming out from that. Also from Bliskovka, according to Russian media, the armed forces of Ukraine seized the gas measuring station Suja on the western outskirts of the city of the same name. Gas is pumped through it for transit to Europe. We wonder what Orban is thinking about now. Okay, so there's a gas station that I was mentioning very close to the border that was seized. And also, I think the town of Suja is right over here that could potentially be under control of the Ukrainians right now. And this is obviously going to be a major problem for the Russians, because now they got to come over here and fight the Ukrainians in this area and push back against the forces to get them out of their country, when this is the problem that Ukraine has been dealing with for a long time. Now we're seeing Ukraine doing the same thing to Russia, and Russia's going to have to deal with this. So again, from Nexta, photo of the Suja checkpoint in the Kursk region. The situation in the city is very tense. The city's mayor, Vladimir Slashev, told propagandists, "We have a very tense situation. There is no time to talk. A lot of people call about evacuation," he said. So this was the photo of the Suja checkpoint in the Kursk region. Take a look at that, okay? Massive war breaking out over here as well. Definitely insane battles that were fought here, because we can see a lot of these buildings have been destroyed. I mean, just look at the amount of devastation here. And this is where many of the Russian military troops would have been stationed here at this checkpoint. And obviously a major battle was fought here right after this, or right before this picture was taken, okay? So I wanted to share that with you. Also, a couple more things. Again, from Nexta, Russia calls on the international community to strongly condemn the Kiev's regime criminal attacks on Russian territory, said Russian Foreign Ministry Press Secretary Zakharova. And this is Maria Zakharova as well. I've talked a lot about her, and he said here you can try to appeal to the UN. So she's calling on international community to condemn this attack from Ukraine doing this. But again, it's a controversial situation. I understand that, but at the same time, it's also like, Russia launched this attack into Ukraine, has been blowing up cities all over Ukraine for years now. But if Ukraine does the same exact thing, it's just insane how they come out immediately and they're like, we need to condemn these attacks. This should not be happening in the country of Russia and whatnot. But then this is a country that you're at war with, that you're devastating their country. I would think at some point they want to inflict the same damage back. I mean, we see the same thing in the Middle East when supposedly Israel carries out a strike inside of Tehran, the capital of Iran. Now Iran wants to strike back. It's like, it only makes sense, you know what I mean? So I wanted to share that. I thought that was interesting information. A couple more things here. There is a video here, but unfortunately I won't be able to show it. I think it might be too graphic because it does shows like some bodies that are laying on the ground. So I'm not going to show the video, but we'll kind of look at this picture here that's in reference to that. And it says from Nexta, automatic rifles, soldiers lying around. Video presumably from the Suzinski district, published by a local resident. Z Channels write, allegedly, the AFU advanced 25 kilometers deep into the territory of the Russian Federation. OZNT journalists were able to identify the location where the video was shot. Allegedly, the video was shot in the farm Zelenyi Shlayak. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sujansky district, 9 kilometers from the border with Ukraine. So at least 9-10 kilometers the Ukrainians had made it through. This was like a little picture that was shot showing that they were able to geolocate this of where the video took place, and they were able to find pictures online that showed the same area. So again, unfortunately, I can't show that video. I think it just might be too graphic. It's not extremely graphic, but I don't want to take any risk with that. But we were able to get some information here from Nexta as well. So finally, I've got one last thing that I want to show you, and this proves right here that something bad is definitely taking place in the Kursk region. Take a look at Vladimir Putin's response as Gerasimov is giving him information on what's happening inside of the Kursk region while this attack took place, and some of the details in regards to it. So it says here from Vivek Singh, and it says Vladimir Putin was very angry today while taking brief from Chief of the Army on Ukraine's incursion into the Kursk region. Just look at how he's controlling anger and knows that Gerasimov is lying. He's very furious inside. So yeah, just take a look at the body language of Vladimir Putin as Gerasimov is giving him an update on the Kursk region with the situation. It's pretty crazy to see. Just take a look.
Продвижение противника вглубь территории на Курском направлении остановлено. В настоящее время подразделения группировки «Север» совместно с пограничными органами ФСБ России продолжает уничтожать противника в районах, непосредственно примыкающих к российско-украинской границе. Потери противника составили 315 человек, в том числе не менее 100 убитыми и 215 человек ранеными. Уничтожено 54 единицы бронированной техники, в том числе 7 танков. Операция будет завершена разгромом противника и выходом на государственную границу. Доклад закончен.
All right, so that was from our good friend Lord Bebo, who I've shared a lot of his posts before. But if you just look at this video, take a look at Vladimir Putin's response here. If you watch him right here, you can see the way he's breathing. He takes a lot of very heavy breaths, like he does right there. You can see that he's trying really hard. You just did it again right there. Trying very, very hard not to show how angry he is about the situation. And obviously, this is a video that's going to be put out all over the internet. So they have to make it appear as if they did a very good job of stopping the Ukrainian forces in that region. I'm not saying they didn't do that because we don't know all the details. And obviously, there's some details that are being left out here. But regardless, with some of the video footage we're seeing of how some of these towns have been destroyed in the Kursk region, just like Suja, definitely the Ukrainians made a pretty accurate push and devastating push into the Kursk region. And again, we know that this attack is still ongoing at this time, and the Russians are still trying to push the Ukrainians out of this area. So I'll wait for some more updates and see what more we can get from this in the future. But I thought that that video interview there, or that briefing with Vladimir Putin, was very interesting because we could see the way that Vladimir Putin was responding to this, and clearly it doesn't look like it was a very good situation over there. But you let me know what you think down below. I hope you got something out of this update. I understand this was a little bit longer of an update than normal, so I want to thank you so much. But there was a lot of information coming out today in regards to the Kursk region and this attack from the Ukrainians. So share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions down in the comment section. That's going to be it for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.